Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started the Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and to share their experience and knowledge with you. I hope you enjoy it. Right on. Kate, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Can't complain. Things are all fine on this end too. The program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you knew that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living.
I do accounts payable, which is paying bills for the company you work with. And I started that about 16 years ago. I was actually in the business of heavy construction equipment, and I was answering phones and taking orders for parts and continually going back and forth to the accounting department. I liked it, and I asked if I could be transferred, and
That's
they took me in, and I've been there ever since. I have been with that company ever since, but I have been in accounts payable ever since, and I love it.
what's not to love. I've been doing this as well, and really remarkable because you see how honestly it's this kind of an administrative position that if you didn't really love you wouldn't have been there because yeah, the payment's pretty good, but it's not like IT good, right? So you really gotta love the job, gotta feel comfortable at the job to do it, especially for so long. And the next question is, how'd you get there? Were you like walking on the street one day and you were like, let me be an accounts payable, or was there something else in between?
No, it was just I was just had gone back to work after being a stay-at-home mom. Um, I worked in several different areas. I did a worked for a title company for a while, and then I went to a mortgage company for a while, and then from there I went to a business, the business I just mentioned earlier, um, because it was closer to my home, and that's where I went to accounts payable, and just from going back and forth from my department to and through the accounting department and seeing how it worked, I was interested and asked, and have been there ever since in that kind of work. So, and 16 years later, I'm still doing it.
Right
So,
on. No, it's pretty remarkable. This is why I wanted you on the program so badly because it's such a rich experience and you have so many things to say and share. My third question is a little bit tricky because I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I haven't received the same answer from two people, which is pretty
uh-huh.
strange. So, how did you knew that this was the way to go? Because and I'm asking this because it's probably the same thing in the United States, but at least here in Europe, people often go to universities because of this stigma that you have to go over there to get a diploma to have a future, which is odd. And I've received a few messages on social media. I am not against universities. I myself went there, so obviously I'm okay with it. But this is like this, you have to do it, and you really don't. I mean, if people really wanted to go to specific university for a specific segment or something, of course that's perfect. But at least here in Europe, it's like this stigma that it's mandatory to have a diploma. The the education here is rather cheap most of the time. Like most of the time, it's very affordable. But the issue is that young people straight out of high school are going over there. They aren't actually learning a lot of things. They're not learning really new skills and something they and we basically end up with people who are 23, 24-year-old people, young people without any work ethics, and then they start going to work. And my biggest problem is that people are losing their time. And this is why I'm asking everybody, how did you knew that this was the way to go? Was this a gut feeling? Did somebody influenced you? Did you kind of had to study specifically for something? So how did you ended up with with your current position, how did you know that this was the way to go?
Well, just like I told you earlier, I have nothing more than a high school diploma. I did not go to a college. I really had no plans to do anything. What I wanted to do was cosmetology. And I,
Wow.
yeah, I wasn't able to do that because of the high school where I went. There was also a school right a tech a votech right built right next to it, and both of them were built 1 year too late for me to have enough time to go. So I my application wasn't accepted because I didn't have enough years left in high school to get what I would need. So that didn't work out. So after that, I get married and raise a family, and that was my goal. And I did that, and then afterwards I went to work, and I just learned on the job, and I homeschooled my kids too, so that may have helped as far as with the numbers, because I was never a fan of math. But
Yet you
when
ended
I
up in
taught
accounts payable. Isn't that crazy?
it's crazy, yeah, because I got better at math when I taught my own kids. So it's kind of crazy, but anyway, so that's how it happened for me. I did not go to any colleges, and didn't know that I would end up doing this. So I would have never thought years before that I would do this, but I love it. And it's just, numbers are perfect. They always add up to what they're supposed to add up to. They, so, it works. It works. I really like
I
my
have been in a
profession.
financial department for I think over 2 years, 10 years now. So I completely understand what what you're saying. When you said numbers are perfect, I really love it. There was an awesome gentleman on my program, also from the United States, and he when I asked him, he was like, "Well, you have to graduate the LDB university," and like, what? He was like, "Learn by doing." Get a job. And I'm like, yeah,
There you go. Yeah, yeah. There you go. I agree with
perfect.
that completely.
Yeah. So maybe I think I kind of finally have two people to answer in the same way. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that is good. And when you're applying for jobs and they're always asking you experience necessary, when you're out there for the first time, even fresh out of college, I would imagine, how do you get the experience without the job? So
But my story is a little bit
anyway,
funny because when I was in college and I really wanted to go to college, I think I was 15 or 16 when I knew exactly what I want to study and exactly what I want to do for a living. And so far this is what I've been doing. So I think I was kind of lucky. But when I was going to college, my I was lucky enough to grow up in a two-parent household, which is pretty important.
uh-huh.
And
Yes,
I
it
just
is.
graduated college, and my parents came to me and said, "Okay, so what's your plan now?" I said, "Well, okay, I'll probably go to college or take some time off and go to Spain and Italy and Greece, see the world." And my father was like, "Yeah, who's going to pay for that?" Like, well,
Right.
you're gonna be. I was a little bit offended by that question. And my mother said, "Listen, Junior, you're way too good looking to be a construction worker, so you have 2 weeks to be to be either a bartender or a waiter." So yeah, and I actually in 10 days I was actually a bartender. So that's how I found my first job. And it was actually pretty good because it was this Irish pub. So I really got to, use my English and it kind of improved over there. So yeah, definitely learn by doing. That was a solid advice.
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you have an advice for the viewers, for young people right now who are in universities or just watching the program, what will it be?
Oh, gee, don't give up.
Fair
Don't
enough.
give up. I know nothing about being in a college, so only what I've heard. But and and I think they've changed things a lot. They don't teach the same things in colleges anymore,
They don't.
and it's I don't have a very good view of colleges these days because they have changed so much, and the basics aren't that are what's really needed aren't there.
I couldn't
So
agree more. The same thing is in Europe. And when I went to college and later on in university, we were basically, they were preparing us for jobs that will be on the market when we graduate. Those jobs didn't exist when we get there.
oh
So,
wow,
yeah, and it was pretty useful because you're out of college, out of universities, and you're kind of like the only person qualified for the job. Like, because, it's either going to be a specific call center for a specifically designed program or something like that. And it's good first step because the colleges directly collaborated with the companies, and it was like a contract. Okay, so you can move your production here, and we will prepare the workers for you. And that's gone now. And I don't know why, because it was pretty useful. You like literally have young, strong, fresh people out of there ready to work, not only ready to work, prepared to work with working ethics and everything.
right,
I remember when I was in college, there was this professor of ours, and it was like mandatory for us to, not mandatory, but it was unspoken rule that if you study economics, you have to work. Otherwise, why are you studying something something about that?
right.
And I was a bartender, so my professors and lecturers actually they were running around the city to see who's working where. We told them, of course, and to see how we're handling ourselves, how we're carrying ourselves. There was one time, I think I told the story before, where I didn't shave and my shoes were dirty, and
Uh,
my college professors put me in front of 150 people in college and said, "Is there a reason you look like a homeless guy yesterday?" And I like, what? It was raining, so my shoes were dirty. I said, "Well, yeah, but the rain is for everyone, and only your shoes were dirty. So, and why weren't you shaved?" I'm like, because I forgot. I said, "What do you mean you forget?" And this was the last time I actually. You can go to my Facebook or all of my videos. I'm always clean shaved. That was the last time I actually had beard on. So that's how I got my work ethic. Oh, and my shoes are always shining. It doesn't matter what the weather is out there. My shoes are all you can see your reflection in it. You can basically brush your teeth. So this is how I was prepared. But yeah, that's gone now, and this is why I started the channel.
Wow.
So with that said, again, Kate, huge thank you for taking of your time to hear me out and sharing your story. It was pretty awesome, and I really wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you so much, Denny. I appreciate it. You
Likewise,
have a wonderful day.
likewise. Goodbye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Gap, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.